is making them determined to get out of hospital and get back on the golf course.
It's off of the golf course where the real gossip is. We're dining out with a few senior tour players.
Lee's running in some pretty fast company there, huh? Cheryl. Yeah. She's in pretty good shape.
Golf Central's got the whole scoop. Hi again and welcome. Rich Slaughter alongside Mike Ritz, entering the final week of the PGA Tour's West Coast swing, sort of, once again, weather permitting, in Los Angeles.
Rich,
Mike?
obviously, we've got lots to offer on this edition of Golf Central. The biggest news of the day comes from our business report. Two of golf's manufacturing giants are squaring off in court. As we told you in the last Golf Central, Callaway is suing to stop Spalding from using its name and image in the marketing of its new Top Flight ball. Spalding says it has designed balls specifically to perform more efficiently with either Callaway Great Big Bertha drivers or TaylorMade Tie Bubble 2s. Earlier in the day, I talked about the lawsuit with Top Flight's Vice President in charge of research and engineering, Mike Sullivan. First off, when you came up with the idea for these balls, were you at all worried about a lawsuit?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Just because of the research and the amount of time that we put into this, you've got to step back a minute and look at the fact that we've been researching balls for oversized clubs since about 1992. And we looked at a lot of live golfers and the way they launch the golf ball. Over time, we also found that there are a lot of people out there using Callaway clubs and TaylorMade clubs. We thought it was a logical first step in matching a ball to a club to address the widest audience, and they happen to be Callaway and TaylorMade golfers. But you've got to remember, again, that this is an industry where people tend to challenge your claims. We've been through this year after year after year, and our claims are always upheld. We do very scientific testing, and we're always prepared for challenges.
Callaway says you're illegally using their name and image to improperly confuse consumers, making them believe that Callaway was either part of the research for this ball or endorses it.
Well, first of all, I take odds with that because we're very proud of the research that we did. We're in a unique position to introduce a product like that, and we certainly would not want to share any credit with the Callaway company. Secondly, we have a disclaimer very prominently placed on the package saying that Callaway had nothing to do with this. So I don't know how the consumer could be confused with Callaway being involved in the design or development. The fact that the Callaway club is depicted on the cover is to eliminate confusion in the consumer's mind, make it clear to him which ball he should use depending on what club he's using.
After speaking with Top Flight's Sullivan, I talked to Callaway's founder-in-chief, Ely Callaway. He says Top Flight's disclaimer on his package is not good enough.
Our lawyers tell us, and we believe the court will judge that to be not the case, that there is some kind of a sort of confusing, indefinite disclaimer on the box, at least an attempt to be. But we expect the courts will rule otherwise, that it is very confusing package, and so that's what we're standing by in the court.
Would you be satisfied if they took Callaway's name and image off the package, but yet used the system, ball club system in its advertising, saying that these balls work best with Callaway drivers?
Not until we have a chance to evaluate the golf ball and test it on our own methods of testing. No, because there is a real danger for the public if this does not meet the claims of Spalding. There's a real danger that the public will end up blaming it on the golf course, on the golf club.
Are you testing the balls right now, sir?
No. Now, do you know why?
I'm waiting for the explanation.
Well, why don't you ask me then? Ask me why.
Well, why aren't you?
Because there are no balls available to us. There are none in the market. They say they haven't shipped any yet to anybody, and they won't ship us any test samples at all. We've been asking them ever since we learned about this at the PGA show in Orlando in late January.
Do you want to see these balls stop from being on the market? What do you hope to have happen next?
We want them to not ship in that packaging, and not have any promotional or advertising activities that makes claims for this new ball of theirs in any relationship to Callaway Golf Club.
Top Flight says the Callaway lawsuit will not delay the company from getting its new balls on shop shelves in early March. Meantime, TaylorMade has not filed a suit of its own, but watches closely this litigation.
Because the U.S. Senior Open is being played later this year at Riviera, the famed layout will not host the Nissan Open as it normally does. Valencia Country Club, about 40 miles north of L.A., steps in without, it appears, rubber boots. They did get 6 inches of rain Monday, but forecasts call for sunny skies. Temperatures in the 60s through Sunday. Thursday could see 30-mile-per-hour winds. You know, it has always been fun to look down the roster of stars who maintained membership at Riviera. Katharine Hepburn, Spencer Tracy, Gregory Peck, to name a few. There is a sort of movie magic attached to this event. Hogan won it twice, plus the Open at Riviera, where they filmed his life story, Follow the Sun. Now, the golfing cast for this year's edition may not be as deep as in past years, but it does have plenty of star power. This is the Los Angeles Open. Ben Hogan winning back-to-back in the late 40s. Fred Couples thrilling L.A. crowds with 2 wins in the 90s. Then Corey Pavin making like Hogan with back-to-back wins in 94 and 95. It's Riviera Country Club and Showbiz, the game's greatest competing against the game's greatest. Now known as the Nissan Open, the 1997 tournament grandly upheld the tradition, luring 8 of the top 10 1997 money winners. Nick Faldo kept alive the tradition of outstanding winners with his victory last year. Riviera once again attracting most of golf's top players. This year, the move from Riviera to Valencia has had somewhat of a negative impact, with none of this year's top 3 money winners participating, only 6 of last year's top 18. Players praise the course, but say it is a one-time only venue, and many feel their time is better spent in Florida getting ready for the swing to the East Coast. And yet, Nissan retains its share of stars. 3 of last year's major champions are here, in addition to Masters winner Tiger Woods, British Open champ Justin Leonard, and the PGA's Davis Love III are in the field, included in a group of 18 players who have major championship credentials. Early winners Duval, Houston, Harnebeck all taking the week off. Freddie, who edged Davis in sudden death at LA in '92, Simpson and the guy he beat in the playoff in San Diego, Skip Kendall, all competing and in contention for the Bank of America bonus, $100,000 for the leading money winner at the end of the West Coast swing, which now won't come until August when the AT&T is completed. Well, the legend of Tiger Woods took shape in Cypress, California, just south of L.A., so this tournament holds special meaning for him. His early mentors still teach in the area, Rudy Duran and John Anselmo, the old pro, at the Hartwell Park driving range. Anselmo helped prepare Tiger to play in the 1992 L.A. Open. As a 16-year-old, Tiger shot 72-75 here, missed the cut, but served notice of what was coming. 6 years later, some interesting numbers on Tiger. He has been a slow starter. His first round scoring average 72.75. The final round 65.66. That includes the Johnny Walker, in which he came from 8 back to beat Ernie Els. He was runner-up at Mercedes, tied for 3rd at the Buick.
Coming up on Golf Central, what clubs did Larry Nelson play to finally get that senior tour win? And we'll give you the latest on Casey Martin. Will this be the year he makes his much anticipated debut on the PGA Tour? Those answers and more next.
Do your hands know how it feels to drive a golf ball 330 yards? Or how it feels to lift a championship trophy on Sunday afternoon? These hands know. They play Sensacor from True Temper, and they belong to Davis Love III. Experience the best feel in golf. Sensacor in steel and graphite. It feels so good you'll never play without it again. Sensacor from True Temper, the way to feel the game.
The Dubai Desert Classic 1997. A sudden death playoff. A relative unknown from down under named Richard Green fought his way past 2 of golf's biggest names to claim victory. Get ready for another fierce battle under the desert sun as the men of the PGA European Tour meet in the Middle East. All 4 rounds of the Dubai Desert Classic, only on the Golf Channel.
Begins Wednesday at 5 a.m. Eastern.
Well, we can't name most of the 11 tournament winners who made Mizuno the #1 iron on the PGA Tour for the 4th year in a row. We can name the tournaments they won. The truth is, more top pros play Mizuno irons because Mizuno makes the irons more tour pros win with. Put the serious performance of Mizuno to work for your game. Play to win. Play Mizuno.
Here now, our weekly look. In the bag of the winners, David Duval plays Callaway Woods, Titleist irons, trusty rusty wedges from Cobra, Scotty Cameron putter by Titleist. Larry Nelson won with TaylorMade up and down the line, the Bobby Grace putter by Cobra Iceman, and the Bridgestone Dynawing golf ball. Wendy Ward hits the increasingly popular Titleist 975D driver, Callaway Fairway Woods, Titleist DCI irons, couple of ping wedges, and the Odyssey Rossi 2 putter.
What's in the Bag is brought to you by Mizuno, the #1 iron on the PGA Tour.
From the things that make you go, category. The PGA Tour announced today there will be a new Nike Tour event played in Eugene, Oregon this fall. Both players who have won so far this year on the Nike Tour, Casey Martin and Eric Johnson, are from Eugene. Eugene is also close to the corporate headquarters of Nike. And, of course, Eugene is the city where Casey Martin just won his case against the PGA Tour. Rich?
Casey Martin and his management team seem to have a handle on his situation. They have laid low, knowing the public might have turned against him had he capitalized too quickly on his newfound fame. His agent says Casey might not accept any PGA Tour sponsors exemptions this year at all. They will announce one more endorsement deal next Tuesday in Austin, where Casey will begin a stretch of 4 Nike Tour events in 5 weeks. The only place to see Casey in the Greater Austin Open, right here on the Golf Channel.
Greg Norman is baring his shark's teeth. He says he is absolutely disgusted with the people who criticized him for pulling out of the South African PGA Championship 2 weeks ago. When rain forced the final 9 holes of play to be delayed until Monday, Norman says he had to leave to honor previous obligations. The South African PGA Commissioner called Norman's departure injurious to the tour. The Shark says he is, quote, absolutely disgusted with the way the South African media treated him.
Still to come, an incredible story of inspiration and courage, the story of young Jeremy Keck. But before we go to break, new members of the Golf Channel's Hole-in-One Club. Chuck Broom scores his first career ace from Illinois. David Dixon garners his 3rd hole-in-one on that same 7th hole at Alpena Country Club in Michigan. Nice going. Bill Flint, Palm City, Florida, in the club. He just turned 50. Happy birthday, Bill. Jeff Gress, 9-iron from 172. Gorilla. Tom Hardy, 5-wood from 170, shot 88. Laura McCoy's been playing golf for less than 2 years. She's mastered the craft, will now be moving on to bowling. Patrick McVie, hole-in-one in his career low round of 76. Rick Slagle, 4-iron from 209 at Hominy Hills. Love Ralph Cramden and the Mooners. Send us your info if you make an ace.
The Golf Channel's Hole-in-One Club, brought to you by Dexter, America's largest family-operated manufacturer and brand in the footwear industry.
Golf's first 3-year waterproof shoe with green-friendly traction by Dexter.
Bay Hill Week.
No way.
He dribbles, drools, bites, and scores. He's Air Bud, swinging into action.
That is very funny.
Brendan Fraser is George of the Jungle. See the world's funniest fairy godmother.
Ta-da.
Martin Short, A Simple Wish. And for those tough-to-please teens, order in Steven Spielberg's The Lost World Jurassic Park. It's a wild time for everyone this February on pay-per-view.
Bring home great family fun with pay-per-view and Cox Cable.
HIV disease is treatable.
With early intervention, you don't have to get sick.
New medications and treatments are being developed every day.
Acupuncture, good nutrition, massage, and proper medical care
can help you live a long and healthy life.
Getting tested is the first step.
You don't have to be alone.
There are people who can help.
Protect yourself. Learn how. Call 265-2437.
The new zero-pressure Michelin. So revolutionary it won't go flat, even with the puncture the size of a golf ball, letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
Golf Central is brought to you by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Every now and then you meet someone who forces you to reevaluate, if only momentarily, your priorities. Someone who reminds you that hardship in life is very relative, that what counts most is spirit, attitude, and good health. Every now and then you meet someone like Jeremy Keck. Scott Van Pelt with the story.
By these definitions, undoubtedly Jeremy Keck has heart, but it has been put to a severe test. When you look at this smiling 14-year-old with a picture-perfect golf swing, you'd never know his secret, and that's the way Jeremy would like it. You'd never know that at the age of 14 he has already endured 4 open-heart surgeries. But less than 2 months after his most recent procedure, Jeremy was back where he most loves to be, on the golf course, caddying for his anesthesiologist, Dr. Aubrey Mays, who explains Jeremy's medical condition.
Good shot. Jeremy was born with a single ventricle, meaning that instead of most of us had 2 ventricles, Jeremy was born with only 1 and has had multiple surgeries to try and correct this over the last 14 years of his life. This last surgery was a major surgery, it took about 14 hours, but he's done extremely well.
He continues to take medication for his condition, but the best therapy seems to be any time at all spent on the fairways and greens, which made this caddying stint prior to the Phoenix Open sort of difficult.
It feels so good to be out here. Just, I want to go home right now and play. Watching these guys makes me just want to go play more.
And amazingly enough, Keck is playing again and is back to practice after having his chest open on December the 8th. After losing 20 of the 120 pounds on his frame. He's put that weight back on, and don't be fooled by this small young man. He understands his stature, and he can play the game.
Ever since I was little, I always knew I was going to be little. So I decided I'd just work at the thing that I could do.
So when you were little, you knew you were going to stay little?
Yeah.
Not going to be big?
I was always the little guy in the class. But that's one thing about golf. Can make up for that.
Not surprisingly, those in the golf community have lent their support to Jeremy's comeback. Tom Lehman has sent prayers, an autographed picture, and a phone call Jeremy still has trouble believing.
The day I came home, my parents were like, "There's a message for you." I figured, who's this? You know, I mean, they're probably going to be making fun of me, and then all of a sudden I push play, and it's, "Hi, my name's Tom Lehman." And I didn't even believe it. I had to listen to it a few times.
While Keck would love to play like Lehman, he sees more of himself in Justin Leonard. He doesn't brag about his abilities, though he will admit he practices awfully hard. Jeremy was the only freshman on the team to play in the top 5 at Desert Vista. He averaged 38 for 9 holes, and his coach appropriately called him the heart of the team. And while he may indeed be a fine player, what most impresses you about Jeremy Keck is the perspective this 9th grader has that we would all be wise to remember.
I think myself, I'm a better person because of it. And it's just, it doesn't really bother me. It's just the little things don't really bother me as they do some other people.
Sure. Because I guess you kind of look at every day, I'm imagining, as sort of a gift, don't you?
Yeah, it's kind of the way it is, yeah.
Jeremy would have you believe that he's just a normal teenage kid, and in many ways, he is. But in others, he is much, much more, having already endured more at a young age than most of us will in an entire lifetime. And though it has already endured a great deal, Jeremy Keck has the heart of a champion. For Golf Central, I'm Scott Van Pelt.
Well, it's a beautiful story. Thanks, Scott. And is this kid ever a winner? On top of everything, Jeremy Keck maintains a 4.0 grade point average. We will be back in just a moment, but first, check of the golf stocks on Wall Street.
Getting the ball up with a fairway wood is one of the toughest shots in golf. Now, thanks to the new Top Flight fairway woods, the Intimidator 400, it's a whole lot easier. It's all in the spoiler sole. This unique design drives the